Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be doing episode 7 of Temptation Island. So we're just doing the one episode. We will not be doing anything else after that, because I want to combine 8 and 9 in one. So let's just get into it. So Cole, as we talked about in the last episode, he was unhappy about Scarlett's video. It was about how she's opened up to people, but what have you done is what he's questioning. And you're sad we put strict rules on us, but you're mad that I didn't. I didn't have sex with anyone, or I didn't hook up with people. That's exactly the point. It's like, how ridiculous. You know what I mean? So then he has a message from Mikey. For her, the message is all the same. It's a little too late for her. She has seen better with Xavier. Then we see Mikey. Surprisingly, he actually has a message. I thought for sure she was not going to send that message to him. But she says, "We came here with problems we thought we could fix. But now I need to focus on me. I have made myself small so you could shine." She says that a lot throughout the next few episodes. I realize that the bare maximum is the bare minimum, which is something we find out later came from Xavier. More on that in a little bit. He is breaking down, and he's thinking there's a chance that he could leave here without her. And he's like, I didn't want to come here. This was not my idea. I did not want to be here. Which is interesting, because I don't remember if we have that perspective, but this was her idea to come on the show, which lends me to believe, did you only come on here in the hopes of blowing this up? We then find out, no surprise to anybody, that Cheyenne does not want to receive a video from Jack, but she did get one, so she has to watch it. And honestly, I have to say, and I'm sure she'll agree, it's a crock of shit. It's like he's not here. He ends it with, "I forgive you." But what? You forgive me? Here's the thing. It's one thing if he's like, "I hope that we can come out forgiving each other for our for our mistakes. He doesn't say that though. He says, I forgive you as if he's done nothing wrong. She says she's over it. She says, I have outgrown him. Then it's Jack's turn, but no surprise to anybody on that either. There is no message from Cheyenne. Oh no, y'all, after all of this, Mark is here. There is no bonfire, don't you worry, but we do have an outing. You're going to the other villa. Oh, this is new. I like this. And they're like, because we're kind of seeing, I'm talking to both the men and the women, and they're like, is the men gonna be there? Like, are they gonna be there? And what does Mark say? That's a good question. Anything else? Were all the girlfriends gonna be there? That's a good question. I've said too much. Enjoy. Wow. So the guys, they're at the women's villa. There's no one else there. And they are exploring, exploring things, seeing what's up. Trying to find the girl's room. Mikey definitely found Sydney's room and found stuff that clearly belongs to Xavier. And then also pictures of them kissing. Y'all, like, he's like, Xavier moved his stuff in here, like he's living here. Cole found pictures too. He found Scarlett's notebook or diary. And apparently we don't hear it right away, but it does get brought up that there is a strict rule in their relationship that he does not read her diary. So he's here and he's like, should I read it? And I'm like, oh God. And Submit's like, this is a territory that I don't want to enter into. I don't know, man. I wouldn't do it, but you do you, boo. So he does him and he reads it. And apparently she wrote a letter to Bradley saying, we're done, like him and like her and then Cole, and something about cheating. It was very weird, but it does sound like she said something maybe kind of inappropriate. Summit just lies down in Kaylee's bed and he's like, I'm good here. See y'all later. Um, Cheyenne, when we see them over at the guy's house, took Jack's cologne and why I don't know, but she ends up deciding to empty it out. Again, why I don't know. I feel like I'm in high school. Back with the men, Submit sees pics with Kaylee and he is not happy, y'all. He is not a happy camper. Then we see Scarlett sees there are no pics with Cole because he is not mingling with people. That pisses her off. But they take pics of themselves to plaster on the walls. But Scarlett is mad that he is resisting temptation. And I'm thinking, I literally wrote her that. What? You're mad that he isn't resisting, but that he is resisting temptation. Are we good? Like, what the fuck? The women see the men ripped photos because they did. They literally ripped photos. Basically, also any photos where Kaylee was in the pictures, Summit clearly ripped those. We see Kaylee go into her room. She's like, my little boo-boo was moved. Okay? My little boo-boo was moved. And Scarlett sees that her journal was moved as well. And she's like, we have a strict rule, no reading of diaries. She's literally thinking, like, did someone move the diary? There's no way that Cole read the diary. More on that later. Cheyenne is mad that he took their photos of her with Preston. And I'm thinking, you literally just spread out his cologne. He probably has no freaking clue that happened. Um, and everyone goes on their dates later on. Next day, here's Mark coming, and we got a bonfire later on. So basically, with this bonfire, it is the last like regular bonfire because the next bonfire is going to be the final bonfire. So the men are up first. Jack is first. We see her saying, fuck that man. I don't even think he's a good person. And her and Preston are looking forward to the future, which is bonkers to me. Jacket's not surprised. Let's not forget he was out here being like, finally. You know what I mean? Mikey is next. Again, Sydney is saying the same things that she's been saying. Now Mikey knows who said the bare minimum, maximum thing, because this is when he sees that Xavier is the one that's saying it. And the swinging and the kissing. And he says, I have given her everything. And saying that I'm giving her the bare minimum, he says it reaffirms everything. And he says, I think she tricked me into coming here. He's really thinking she just brought me here to blow up our relationship. And Mark says it may have been unexpected to her too, which maybe it was. But I do think she came on the show with the intention of, I'm going to find someone here who's my type and make it seem and try to see if something comes from that so that I can ultimately blow up this relationship. And again, like I said, I don't have problems with that. I just want her to admit it. That is it. Submit is next. We see her saying, I hope he reflects. I want him to grow as a person. I want him to want to do things for me. And he says like he wants to give her all of those things. But when he's ready, not a day sooner, not a day later. It's only been a year. When is the right time? Which again, yeah, a year is not a lot of time to be, to be ready to settle down completely. And when he says like when is the right time? I thought this was beautiful, Mark. I really do. Because he says, when you can't be without her, that's when you know. He asks, is it okay to say, slow down a bit? This is what Sumit asks. And Mark is like, yeah, of course. Like, it's not just her in this relationship, it's both of you. And he's like, yeah, but she doesn't like that. But that's okay. She doesn't have to like it. At, at the end of the day, she needs to either accept it, respect it, and or don't and leave. And Mark says, well, that's okay too. She doesn't have to like it. They say, so then what do I do? Because you can tell like he's struggling here. Like he wants to be honest about his feelings, but he does care for her. So you can hear her say like, what do I do? Mark simply says, just be honest. There's nothing else you can do. Cole is next. We hear her say that she craves the depth from him. I guess he doesn't have the depth. I don't freaking know. This conversation isn't new to him, but bomb dropped, y'all. Bomb is about to be dropped. The single women and probably men will be leaving the next day. They're outie. This is the last night on the island. So things need to be figured out. But that's episode 7. We really didn't spend a lot of time with this. So let's just take a quick break here. And when we come back, we will jump in with episode 8. Hi everyone. So I have something new for you. This is Noble Dutch. So just a quick little thing about them. They make high quality, plant-based and convenient food that fuel your body and fits your routine. Whether you're juggling work, family, fitness, or personal goals, they make sure that you always have access to wholesome, gluten-free meals that, of course, you can trust. So, they have basically meals that you can get that are tasty, healthy, and ready in just 8 minutes. And again, it's vegetarian, it's gluten-free, and it's packed with 11 grams of protein. Yes, please. They have some meals, for example, like the instant jasmine rice and tomato sauce. And again, that's ready in 8 minutes. And it comes in 12 bowls, a carton, and it contains ingredients like jasmine rice, tomato sauce, chili oil, soya chunks, carrot and peas, and a spoon in case you need that as well. So Basically, it's quick and easy. You would pour that jasmine rice and the carrots and those peas into a bowl, and then you would add boiling water up to the marked line inside of that bowl, close the lid and let it sit for 8 minutes. And then you would open, add the needed amount of tomato sauce and chili oil into that bowl, stir and enjoy. Very simple, very easy. So you can earn dunch points with every meal. You can basically get a point per dollar that you spend. You can get 60 free birthday dunch points, and you can get 50 points per referral when you refer a friend as well. And that all kind of adds up. So if you're interested in that and you want to take part in this, you can head over to my link that helps support not only Noble Dunch, but also supports the podcast. And that is going to nobledunch.com/HEKVNLEC. And that link will also be in the show notes. And I am back. So we're doing episode 8 in this episode. So we left off with the bonfire, I believe, of the men. So the women are next now. Cheyenne's first. And we hear him saying, why put yourself back in the box? Or people telling him, why put yourself back in the box? Apparently she's the issue. Who's the best kisser in the house? He says Jasenia is. And then we see the ass slap when he slaps Jasenia. Cheyenne says that he can't even stick with the same person. I don't think that matters, but okay. Well, about the first comment, what about that? About why put yourself back in the box? And she says, if he was unhappy, why did he stay? When he cheated, you didn't know when he cheated, you didn't know, so how could I love him or something around those lines. But the thing is you're pushing it on him. If you're unhappy, why did you stay? Why did you stay? You know what I mean? It could go both ways. Oh, okay, now I'm understanding what I wrote here. Mark basically is saying, when you found out he was cheating, it's not how could he do this to me? How much you love him? It was, he's a loser. Things like that is what she would say. And she says, how am I more successful than him? And I try harder in life than him. Everyone goes through their own journeys here. You and him are the same age, or maybe he's a year older than you, and you're still young though. You're still figuring yourself out. She's so judgmental. That's why I don't like her. Sydney's next, and we hear him telling India he has been opening up with India and there is no romance, and how hurt he feels. And she says, I didn't plan to leave without him. It came to me I wanted more. So, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's justifiable. But yeah, Kaylee is next. And she sees Submit telling Julianne, or telling her she makes him happy. But my God, not a damn thing about Kaylee. What am I supposed to say to that? She says. And Mark suggests, you gotta love you. So well said. When you start looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, that's when others say it too. I love that. Scarlett is next, and we see Cole is going in on her video that she sent him. What if the roles were reversed? And she was like, what are you doing? Which is so true. That would have happened too. She says, so our boundaries were no physical. Not that he couldn't talk to people. Maybe he's just uncomfortable, and I think that's also legitimate. Mark says, can I give him credit? Because, shit. He says he's afraid of you. He tells you what you want to hear because he is afraid of you. I don't know what a woman's supposed to take that, though. If a woman literally hears, oh, your man's afraid of you, what do you do with that? but he doesn't feel safe. You don't trust him because you don't feel safe. Goes both ways, I guess. So Mark breaks the news about the men leaving the next day. Back at the villas, we break the news that this is the last night, the last hurrah. And we kind of just see a lot of them talking to people. Obviously, we see Sydney talking to Xavier, Scarlett talking to Bradley, Cheyenne talking to Preston, um, Mikey talking to the three amigas, Submit talking to whoever the heck he's talking to, um, Colt in the corner, and Jack kissing everybody. It's the usual. The next day, we see Submit calling his mom, and he starts crying because he misses her. He really does. Mom thinks that everyone should be tempted like this. Like everyone should be tested like this. I hear her, but no, thank you. I don't need that stress in my life. It's like you don't have to be with Kaylee for the rest of your life. You're both young and you have time to figure this out. Just enjoy life, basically. So then we see the guys leaving, then we see the women leaving, and Scarlett and Cole are first at the bonfire. They're a couple bonfire. They get there and they both do hug. And that's essentially where we end this episode. So this was a shorter one just because these two episodes were pretty short. We're going to jump in with episode 9. It will be a standalone episode. But yeah, that is it. I don't think I have anything that I want to talk about because I think I've covered some of the shows that we've been talking about or watching. So I don't really have anything to really say. So it's just going to be, this is it. So yeah, we'll be back with another episode finishing this up. But until then, that is it for me. That is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at realityt2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at reality2pod. I believe you can email me at realityt2@hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/realityt2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro. But the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently. You can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.